Now that you have your materials, let's talk a little bit about how we're going to put things together. Now, as I mentioned before, this project is really going to be a sort of problem-solving project for you. So I'm not going to give a whole lot of details or suggestions because I want you to kind of work through that. But hopefully you've sort of already planned for some of these things since you've already got your sketch done. I'm going to start by making the shape of my piece, and I'm actually going to do Hurley now instead of Violet. So it'll be pretty much the same as my Violet sketch, except Hurley's got all 4 legs. A quick tip for connecting your pipe cleaners together is to twist both of them. I didn't just wrap one around the other, I'm actually bending both of them to twist around each other. That will help keep them in place. And then again the same on the back. I'm twisting both of these. See how I have to fix the back leg there. And that will help hold them in place. The other thing to think about is if your pipe cleaners aren't standing, your sculpture is not going to stand, right? We want our bone-like structure to be well supported. So with the tin foil, you can rip it, you can tear it into pieces, but the one thing that we kind of ran into last year is tin foil is thin. That doesn't mean that you have to keep it flat when you use it. If you tighten it or ball it up and leave a lot of air inside of it, you're going to make more space than you would if you were just crumpling it all up into as small of a ball as you want. So when I go to make Hurley's body, I want to leave that space in there. When I start wrapping my plaster pieces on, it's going to go around that and it's not going to squish it. He's going to have more of a body than he would if I was just wrapping the strips of tinfoil around him. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the head. I don't want to crunch it into the smallest ball and use just that. I'm going to use, actually I'm going to set that aside because it's sort of donezo once you do that. But I'm going to use the air to my advantage. So I'm kind of just using my fingers inside of it to keep it open. Get another strip. So I can make the bottom, but I'm really careful that I'm not using very gentle here so that I don't squeeze it too hard and make it smaller than I want it to be. Okay, so here's kind of what it's looking like from the side. I also want to think about my spaces where I have joining pieces. Oops, let's get that in the frame. Where I have joining pieces. Putting the tin foil around those pieces is going to help strengthen those. So I want to be sure that I'm kind of supporting those. And then when you add the plaster gauze on top of it, that's going to support it even more. Let's see. In fact, I'm going to put wide on one side, split the other side so I can kind of wrap around both of these legs, but still have it one piece across that front part. And yes, I am wrapping around the pipe cleaner, but I'm not squishing it all the way in. I'm still keeping some of that air inside the tinfoil instead of just squishing it down as hard as I could. That's going to help build up the body a little bit. Forming pieces for his ears, although they may not stay on in just the tin foil, but I know that when I plaster this together, they will. I want them to be about the same size. There's his little head. So I'm just going to finish up wrapping his neck and the ends of his feet. And then when I go to put him on the shelf, I need to get a sticky note and keep that with him so that we know whose project belongs to who when it's on the shelf.